Lettuce. This lettuce has just been harvested, and it's not dead. It doesn't even know it's been picked. Roots intact, still drinking, it'll sit in your fridge crisp for up to a month. The bagged stuff from the store was killed the second it was cut. That's the whole difference. 7 days versus 30. Most people blame the lettuce. It's not the lettuce. Everything that happens after that cut is just slow decay in a plastic bag. So here's what changes everything. When you harvest aquaponic lettuce, you pull the whole plant, roots and all. It isn't dead, it's just paused, sitting in your fridge, still alive, still holding water in every leaf. And this is why lettuce is the plant everyone should start with. Its roots are shallow, so it barely asks for anything. It feeds happily on the tiny bit of nutrients a brand new system makes. That means lettuce thrives before your system is even mature. It's already growing while everything else is still waiting. Go with loose leaf or butterhead varieties. Romaine too. Cut the outer leaves and it keeps giving you more, several harvests a month off a single plant. Take the whole head at the stump and it grows back. Enough for a salad a night, 20 feet from your kitchen. There's really only one way to lose. Heat. Let the water run warm and lettuce bolts. Shoots up, turns bitter, quits. Keep it cool and it forgives almost everything else. Pair it with tilapia or goldfish, and those fish do the feeding for you. Can it replace the store lettuce for good? Completely. So that's lettuce, the plant that ends one item on your grocery list forever. But leaves are the cheap stuff. The next plant is the one commercial growers actually get rich on, and it grows even faster. Let's talk basil. Basil. These two basil plants are the same age. One is worth a few dollars, the other is worth 10 times that. The only difference is which end the grower cut. That's the secret hiding inside basil. It's why commercial aquaponic growers quietly build their businesses around this plant instead of lettuce. It sells for more, it grows fast, and in this system it doesn't just grow, it multiplies. Here's why it explodes here. Basil is a heat and moisture plant. In soil, that's a weakness. Soil dries out and swings cold, and basil sulks, but your system is permanently warm, wet, and fed. You've accidentally built basil's perfect climate. It does in weeks what soil basil does in a season. First leaves in about 3 weeks, then non-stop. Now the mistake. Most beginners harvest basil from the bottom, wrong end. You pinch the top, just above a pair of leaves, and the stem splits in 2. Do it again. 2 become 4. Every cut makes the plant bushier and bigger. That flowering plant? Someone left it alone. The moment basil flowers, the leaves turn bitter and it quits. Letting it grow tall is how people kill it. Pair it with tilapia or catfish, warm water fish for a warm water plant. Difficulty is almost 0 as long as you keep pinching. One plant, cut right, out-earns a whole row of lettuce. Kale. Look at the stem on this kale plant. All the way up, those scars are leaves that already fed someone. Weeks of harvests off one plant, and it's still going. Most vegetables you plant, you harvest, and they're gone. Kale doesn't work like that. Kale is a plant you harvest from. That's the thing nobody tells beginners. You don't grow a kale plant for one payoff. You grow it once, and it keeps handing you food for months. Here's how. Kale grows from the center. It pushes new leaves up and out of the top, while the older leaves mature below. So you take the lowest, biggest leaves, never the crown, and the plant just keeps climbing and producing. Take the outer leaves, leave the middle, come back in a few days, again and again. One plant becomes a slow, steady supply instead of a single meal. And it barely asks for anything to do it. Kale is almost impossible to kill. It shrugs off a light frost. It shrugs off mild heat. And it's not fussy about nutrients, so it thrives whether your system is brand new or fully mature. This is the plant that quietly makes aquaponics feel like food security. While faster crops come and go, kale is the constant in the corner of the bed that's always ready. It gets along with any fish you put behind it. It's that undemanding. The one mistake? Cutting the growing tip. Snap off the crown and you've stopped the whole engine. Take from the bottom, always, and one kale plant will outfeed almost anything else you grow. Spinach. Every backyard gardener knows the heartbreak of spinach. You plant it. It looks perfect for a few weeks. Then the first warm spell hits, and it just gives up. Shoots a tall stalk straight up, the leaves turn thin and bitter, and it's over. That's called bolting, and in a summer garden, spinach does it almost every time. Here's the part most people never understand. Spinach doesn't bolt because of the air temperature. It bolts because its roots get hot. In soil, sun bakes the ground and cooks the root zone. The plant panics into flowering to make seed before it dies. Now here's what aquaponics quietly changes. Your plant's roots aren't sitting in hot dirt. They're sitting in a large, moving body of water. And water holds its temperature far more steadily than soil ever could. The root zone stays cool, and even when the air is warm. So the plant that panics in a garden stays calm in your system. You get a longer season, and cleaner, sweeter leaves for more of the year. Harvest it the way you'd harvest kale. Outer leaves first, leave the center to keep pushing new growth. Do that, and one planting keeps feeding you for weeks instead of collapsing in a single flush. Behind the scenes, pair it with a cool water fish like trout in the cold months, tilapia the rest of the year. Spinach isn't a hard plant, it's a heat-stressed plant. Take the heat off its roots, and the vegetable that always failed you finally doesn't. Swiss chard. This one plant has been in the system for months. Not months of sitting there, months of being harvested, over and over. And it's still one of the biggest, healthiest things in the bed. If any plant proves you can stop rotating crops constantly and just let one keep giving, it's this one. Swiss chard is the most underrated vegetable in aquaponics, and it's not close. People walk right past it for lettuce and kale and never realize chard outlasts them both. Here's why one plant feeds you for so long. Chard is built like a factory that refuses to shut down. You cut the outer stalks, and from the center it immediately pushes new ones. Thick, tall, glossy. Cut those in a week or two. More come. It doesn't bolt easily. It shrugs off cool weather and mild heat. And it keeps manufacturing leaves long after faster crops have been pulled and replanted. One plant can carry you through an entire season. And those colorful stems aren't just for show. Those glowing reds and yellows change how the whole bed looks. Less like a science project, more like a garden you're proud to show people. Real food, real color, growing out of water. One mistake to avoid: don't strip it bare. Always leave the small center leaves so the factory keeps running. Take too much at once, and you stall it. Pair it with tilapia or catfish, and it barely needs your attention. So, chard, kale, spinach, lettuce. These are the greens you already recognize from the store. Familiar, comfortable. But the next plant isn't a Western staple, and it does something none of these can. Researchers measured it producing over 100% more leaf in this water than in soil. If you've ever doubted that aquaponics beats dirt, bok choy is the proof. Let's get into it. Bok choy. These two were planted the same day. Same seed, same age. One grew in soil, the other grew in this water. Look at the difference. That's not a small edge. In a controlled study, aquaponic bok choy put on over 100% more mass than the soil version. It didn't just win, it doubled it. That's the plant that ends the "does aquaponics really beat dirt" argument. So why does bok choy, specifically, explode like this? It's a heavy, fast leaf builder. It wants to pack on weight quickly, and the one thing that normally slows it down is inconsistent feeding. In soil, nutrients come and go. In your system, the food never stops flowing past its roots. Steady nitrogen, steady water, all day, every day. You've removed the exact bottleneck that holds it back, so it converts all that into thick stems and dense heads in as little as 30 days. Now, a choice most beginners don't know they have. You can harvest bok choy two ways. Take outer leaves and let the plant keep going. A steady trickle. Or wait and cut the entire head at the base for one big restaurant-style harvest. Both work. Pick based on how you cook. One thing that does matter: spacing. Bok choy bulks out sideways, and crammed too close the heads stay small and stunted. Give each one room, and they size up fast. Pair it with tilapia or goldfish. And if you want a single plant to convince a skeptic that this whole thing works, grow this one. Arugula. Want the fastest possible payoff in aquaponics? The shortest wait between planting something and eating it? This is the plant. Arugula goes from seed to a plate of peppery gourmet greens in about 3 weeks. Some of the fancier crops on this list make you wait months. Arugula barely makes you wait at all. And here's what makes that satisfying. This is a premium green. Those peppery, nutty leaves, restaurants charge a small fortune for them. They come in tiny, expensive bags. You're growing a fistful in 20-odd days for basically nothing. It's the fastest way to feel like your system is actually working. Exactly what a beginner needs early on. But arugula has a personality, and you need to know it. That signature peppery bite? It's controlled by heat. Grow it cool and the leaves stay tender, mild, and sweet sharp. The good kind of peppery. Let the water and air run hot and the plant stresses. That pepper turns into a harsh mustardy punch, almost too much to eat. Same plant, totally different flavor, decided entirely by temperature. So harvest young and harvest often. Snip the outer leaves while they're small and tender and it'll keep throwing out more for weeks. Wait too long or let it get hot and it turns sharp and then bolts. It's not picky about fish. Tilapia or goldfish behind it is plenty. Fastest gourmet win in the whole system. Plant it the day you want a morale boost. Cilantro. Cilantro is the herb that has humiliated more gardeners than anything else. You buy it, you plant it, and within a couple of weeks, it abandons you. It stretches into a tall, ferny flower stalk. It stops making the flat leaves you wanted. It goes to seed. People assume they did something wrong. They didn't. That's just cilantro being cilantro. Here's the truth nobody explains. Cilantro is genetically in a hurry to reproduce. The second it feels stress, dry soil, a heat spike, roots disturbed, it panics and races to make seed. That's bolting. And a backyard garden is nothing but stress signals. Soil dries out, bakes, swings temperature all day long. Now put it in aquaponics. The roots sit in cool, constantly moving water that never dries out and never spikes. You've removed the panic triggers. So the plant that sprints to seed in soil actually slows down and stays leafy far longer here. It's not that aquaponics stops bolting forever. It delays it, and that delay is the whole game. But you still plant it with a strategy. And this is the one plant where that strategy is mandatory. Succession planting. Start a small new batch every 2 weeks. So when your oldest cilantro finally bolts, and it always does, a fresh batch is right behind it. You never run out. Harvest the outer leaves and leave the center. Or take the whole young plant if you want a big handful at once. Either works. Any fish will do. The skill here isn't the fish or the water. It's planting on a schedule. Parsley. Parsley will test your patience at the start, and then reward it longer than almost anything in your system. While your arugula and cilantro are already feeding you, parsley is still sitting there, seemingly doing nothing. Beginners see that slow start and assume it failed. It didn't. It's just playing a completely different game. Here's what's happening underground. Parsley spends its early weeks building a deep, serious root system before it puts much on top. That slow start is the investment. Once those roots are established, the plant becomes a machine. With basil, you're always racing its flowering. Parsley isn't like that. It just keeps producing leaves, month after month, with no urgency to bolt. Basil gives you a fast, intense run. Parsley gives you the long, quiet marathon. That's why one parsley plant can outproduce the herbs around it over a full season. It doesn't burn bright and quit. It settles in and keeps handing you fistfuls of leaves, long after faster herbs have been pulled and replanted twice. And the harvest technique is the key most people miss. You cut from the outside, at the base. Take the oldest outer stems right down low, and always leave the new growth in the center alone. Do that, and the plant keeps pushing fresh stems from the middle indefinitely. Cut across the top like a hedge, and you'll stall it. It's undemanding and pairs with any fish behind it. Just give it time up front. Parsley is the plant you're glad you were patient with. Chives. If all you've got is a windowsill and a corner of a small system, this is your plant. Chives take up almost no room. A single little clump. No sprawl, no vines, no wide leaves shading everything around it. And they'll hand you fresh green onion flavor, practically forever. For apartments and tiny setups, nothing else on this list competes. Here's the trick that makes them perfect for small spaces. Chives grow in a tight bundle of thin, grassy blades. You harvest them like a haircut. Grab a handful and snip straight across, a couple inches above the base. That's it. And because you're only cutting the blades, never the roots, the plant treats it as a trim, not an injury. New blades push straight back up from the base within days. So how many times can you cut them? Honestly, you lose count. A single chive clump will regrow through cut after cut after cut. All season, for years if you keep it fed. It's one of the few plants where can it grow forever has a real answer. Basically, yes. Divide the clump when it gets crowded and you've turned one plant into several. There's almost no way to fail here. It's undemanding, unfussy about which fish sit behind it, and it forgives neglect better than nearly anything. Small footprint, endless cutting, nearly impossible to kill. Chives are the plant that proves you don't need space to grow your own food. You just need water and a windowsill. Mint. Every plant so far, I've told you how to keep it alive. This one, I have to tell you how to keep it contained. Because mint isn't fragile. Mint is dangerous. Not to you. To the rest of your system. Here's the problem. In soil, mint is already famous for taking over a garden. Now give it aquaponics. Unlimited water, unlimited nutrients, nothing holding it back. And it doesn't just grow well. It goes on the attack. It sends out runners, horizontal roots that creep sideways through your grow bed. They pop up new plants as they go. Left alone, mint will crowd out your lettuce, smother your herbs, and steal the nutrients meant for everything else. In a bad case, those roots find their way toward your plumbing and outlets and start clogging the flow. So you grow it. Because fresh mint is fantastic and nearly impossible to kill. But you grow it in prison. Give mint its own separate container, its own pot, its own isolated corner, where the roots physically cannot escape into the main bed. That one decision is the entire difference between having fresh mint and mint eating your system. The beginner mistake is obvious now, but almost everyone makes it. They see a happy, vigorous mint plant, feel proud, and let it run. Weeks later, they're ripping runners out of 3 other grow beds. It'll grow behind any fish in almost any conditions. That was never the challenge. With mint, the plant isn't the thing you manage. The plant is the thing you defend against. Watercress. Every plant in this video has been growing out of the water. Watercress wants to grow in it, and that one difference makes it the single most natural fit for aquaponics on this entire list. It behaves like it was designed for the system, before the system even existed. Here's its killer fact. Watercress is semi-aquatic. In the wild, it grows in cool, flowing streams, roots trailing directly in moving, oxygen-rich water. Now think about what an aquaponic system actually is. Cool, flowing, oxygen-rich water moving past roots, all day long. Every condition that would drown or rot another plant is exactly the condition watercress spent its entire evolution craving. You're not adapting this plant to your system already is its home. That's also why it's one of the fastest crops you can grow. From a cutting, just a sprig with a bit of stem, it roots and takes off. You get peppery, nutrient-dense leaves in as little as 2 weeks. You can literally start it from a bunch you bought at the store. So why doesn't everyone grow it? Mostly because they don't realize how easy it is, and because it comes with the same warning as mint. It grows so eagerly, it'll form a thick mat and block your water flow if you let it. Give it its own channel, or a spot where it can spread without choking the system. Then harvest it constantly. That's 12 plants that turn your system into a grocery store you never have to visit. But here's what should be running through your mind right now. Every one of these grew in the bed, or in the water, rooted in place. So what about the plants that don't root at all? The ones that just float on the surface and still feed you? Duckweed, azolla, the plants that grow on top of the water. That's a whole different category. And that's where we go next.